This is the BBC Home Service on Wednesday, May the 15th, 1951. The time is 7 o'clock precisely.
Stopped. What time is it? Oh, God! Is it over? We missed it! We missed the moment! We were late! We were late for Vera's moment! She'll be so cross. Aunt Vera will be so cross with us. Gets you cross with me.
Nonsense. Your Aunt Vera is goodness itself.
She's always ticking me off.
She has very high standards. What could be more natural than to send her to the country to be with family? She's growing up. She'll be a young woman soon. She'll benefit from her aunt's care.
She can't get that here, of course. She can only get that from your wonderful sisters.
London is dangerous. We could have bombs falling on us at any moment.
I suppose that is all my fault as well. Mrs. Jeffries has sent her children to Wales, where they will be safe.
Oh, so now you're saying you'd rather have our child packaged off to strangers, her name written on a ticket round her neck, rather than go to my sisters, my two sisters, where she'd be looked after as if she were their own?
Well, let the child decide.
So I decided. I would escape London and Hitler's bombs by visiting my Aunt Vera and her younger sister Eden in peaceful Suffolk. I didn't know it then, but I was to spend the best part of the war growing up at Laurel Cottage. In my mind, every trip I made to the country was like that first one, bathed in deepest sunshine.
You're late. Is your watch set slow? Heavens, Faith. I almost didn't recognise you. What's happened to your hair? Gone quite brown. You look almost like a foreigner. Your looks have always come from your mother's side. What a perfectly silly little box.
To the gases. The poison gases.
I suppose it's hardly your mother's fault if she is a foreigner. It's hardly her fault that she doesn't know that we won't be getting any poisonous gases in Suffolk.
The government.
Come on, Faith. We'll be late for your own funeral. Hurry up, or we'll be late for tea. Wash before tea. You'll be sleeping in Eden's room for the time being. She'll make do with Francis's while he's at school.
But couldn't I mean, wouldn't it be easier if I used Francis's?
No, that wouldn't be suitable for a young girl. Don't you like this room, Faith? After Eden's gone to so much trouble to make you feel welcome. Nothing's too much trouble for Eden, you know. She has perfect manners.
It's a lovely room. I just meant I don't want to be a nuisance.
Do wash your hands thoroughly before tea. Faith, it's 4:30. Look out for Eden. She'll be coming soon. No, you just watch out for Eden. Are you watching, Faith, dear? There she is. Here she comes. Wave to Eden, Faith. I'm afraid this is not as good a table as your mother would make. Grandma used to insist on at least 2 big cakes and 3 different varieties of biscuits.
We normally just have a packet of digestives.
Shop-bought biscuits? But Grandma would turn it her grave. You can see I was wasting my time baking biscuits for you. Right hand for drinking, left hand for eating. Might as well have gone down to the grocer's and bought any old packet of custard creams. What would Eden say to that? She hasn't ever even tasted a shop-bought biscuit in all her life. Hope our humble homemade stuff will suit you. I'm just not up to these sophisticated London ways, and I can't see us changing now. Have you been taught how to cook anything? Sure, I don't know what sort of wife you'll make.
Would you like me to teach you how to make puff pastry?
Yes. Thank you very much.
I've taught Eden everything, and Eden does everything marvellously. You must watch her and do things the way she does, then you won't go wrong. See, look, darling. or maybe this one. What do you think?
Let's try it.
Like this, or out a bit. What do you think, darling?
I don't know. Do as you think, Vera. You always do it best.
Can I help?
No, thank you, dear. What would you know about the latest fashions? Come along, dear. It's bedtime, I'm sure.
But it's 7:30. It's still light.
It doesn't get dark until 10:30.
You're not telling me Mother allows you to stay up that late in London, are you? No. May I? Do we know how to brush our hair properly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have you got that?
One, two, three.
Even on that first night, I longed to join my aunts in their mysterious, grown-up women's world.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hurry up, dear. I've a lot of visiting to do. The morning's almost half over. You mustn't be late. Wave, Faith, dear. People expect it. Oh, my goodness. We'll be late for tea at the rectory. There. You look very well. I hope Mother is well, Elsie.
Yes, thank you, madam.
You may go and wash your hands, Faith.
Where do I... Thank you.
Yet another delicious gift from your kitchen. You have no idea how much I envy your sweet little Laurel cottage, my dear. You're so very lucky you don't have to deal with the servant problem. The war, I'm afraid, is not going to make my life any easier. Oh, how I wish I had a little house. Mmm, such delicious jam. And you make it all in your delightful little kitchen. What would the village do without your good works, Vera, dear?
What would we do? Ask your precious Aunt Vera about old Mrs. Hislop and the March baby.
Are you coming in, Faith, dear?
Ask her about the March baby.
No, I don't.
Yes, she'll tell.
That's just perfect.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Who's Mrs. Hislop?
Mrs. Hislop was a very silly old woman, though I hope God will forgive me for saying such harsh things about the dead. She was a very stupid woman and very vain, which is why what happened to her happened. So let that be a lesson to you, Faith, on how vanity can sometimes be fatal.
And what about the March baby?
Who told you about the March baby? Who told you? What did they tell you?
Nothing. No one said anything.
We'll be late for tea. Look what you've done. We'll be late for evening's tea.
I'd been enrolled in the village school, and a nice, respectable girl, Anne Canvas, was selected for me as a friend.
Look, it's Elsie from the rectory. Do you know who Mrs. Hislop was? Everybody knows about Mrs. Hislop. Mrs. Hislop lived down there. My mother says people used to say she was a witch. What's that got to do with Vera? Well, even when she was young, your Aunt Vera went visiting. Mrs. Hislop. Mrs. Hislop used to pick mushrooms from the woods to eat. My mother said they used to warn her they could be poisonous. Mrs. Hislop? But she was very mean as well as stupid, and she was vain. She refused to wear glasses even though she was already ugly. My mother said Mrs. Hislop was huge, all bloated and swollen. Her eyes were open and her face all black, and maggots were eating her feet.
Oh, Vera, how horrible.
She said Vera blamed herself. If only she'd gone the evening before, she could have stopped her. She could have seen that Mrs. Hislop would make a mistake because she wouldn't wear her glasses. Vera kept saying it was really all her fault.
I can't think what else he meant. There was something else there. About a baby. A March baby.
March baby? What, born in March? I'll ask Mother. If anyone knows, she will. Thanks, I'll be the Germans. I'll beat you home.
I told you I wouldn't have any of this paragon daisy chain stuff in my room. Who are you?
It's Faith. I mean, I'm Faith.
Are you? Faithful Faith. Have you been sleeping in my room?
No. No, of course not.
I'm going to burn a lot of this. If you're lucky, it's a yellow day today.
Right hand for drinking, left hand for eating.
It's quite difficult to only eat with the left hand, unless you want to eat like an American GI with just the fork.
Don't talk such nonsense, Francis. I never knew such a tiresome boy.
Eden might like that, eh?
I know it's hard to believe it, Francis, but there is a war on. Sure you don't make such a carry-on at school.
This is a yellow triumph, Mother. Much better than that pathetic green effort you produced last holiday. Cauliflower, cabbage, and chilli. You know, Muslims always eat with their right hands because they use their left hands to wipe their bums with after they've shat. That's why they cut them off for punishment, so that people would starve literally to death before they'd use the left. Makes you see what bringing up people by these silly, rigid rules can lead to.
Honestly, Francis, why are you so awful to her?
She's awful to me. She hates me. She sent me away to school the minute she could. The exact precise first moment she possibly could, she got rid of me. You're here. Perfect Eden's here. She chose you and sent me away.
Your mother did what she thought was best for you, Francis. Maybe I would have liked to have gone away to school. Nobody gave me the chance, did they?
Don't be such a bloody prig, Eden.
You've made Faith blush.
Francis! Francis, where are you?
He's not in his room. He's definitely not in the cottage.
Francis, I know you're hiding. It's bedtime. Come in at once.
He'll be back before you know it. Now come and sit down.
He does it on purpose to worry me.
I'll make us some cocoa. And by the time the milk's boiled, he'll be back.
You make people think I'm not a good mother. Eden. Here he is, and the door wide open. I want to kill him.
Darling, you shouldn't distress yourself.
But why?
You shouldn't rise. He just wants your attention. The more upset you get, the more he'll do it.
It's everything.
Now it's time for bed.
See you in the morning, darling.
I was secretly following Aunt Vera's instructions, watching Eden closely, hoping I could grow up to be like her. But even then, Eden was preparing herself for a journey that had nothing to do with Vera.
I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late.
And when it was ended, and Vera was a murderess, the whole world watching us and wanting to know why, I ran away, back to Oxford. I wanted to forget about Eden and Vera, all my family. And the very last person I wanted to see was you, Andrew.
Thought you said you were staying away for a few days.
So did you.
I'm not an invalid, Andrew. Stop fussing around me. I just don't see why it should... I just don't see why Vera should keep us away. You're not allowed in here.
Oh, come on.
You're a man. You'll be arrested. Go away.
I thought we agreed that we wouldn't look at any of this.
Oh, we agreed, did we? I have to get on. I'm late with this essay.
Oh, don't worry, I'm sure they won't mind. In the circumstances.
Oh, shut up, Andrew. Just leave me alone. What are you staring at? How would you like me to behave?
I'm sorry, she's ill. She's not been well.
Don't look so scared, Faith. Helen's a sweetheart, really she is. What should I call her? Well, she's really your step-aunt, but that sounds very formal. Why is she my step-aunt?
Our father married twice. Helen is his daughter by his first wife, and she lived here at Warbrooks. Vera, your father John, and I are his children by his second wife.
Didn't Helen live with you?
No.
Didn't she mind?
No. It's not for her to mind. Lots of people don't live with their parents. You're here with us, after all.
And Frances lives at school most of the time.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, but
Oh, honestly, Faith, all these questions. You must call Helen Aunt Helen. I'm sure that's what will be expected. And why Helen should mind about being left Warbrooks when your father, Eden, and I have to make do with Laurel Cottage between us, I don't know.
There, dear. Oh, don't worry, dear. It's only a spot. Oh, come and sit down, dear. It's not very important.
Andrew's in the Air Force, isn't he, Aunt Helen? Mother said the war won't end until half the Air Force is dead at least.
Faith. It's all right, dear. I don't know where he is now. Actually, my dear, I wonder if you mind not calling me Aunt Helen. It makes me feel awfully old. Eden looks quite the young woman now. And Vera's looking very well. And how's Francis?
He's fine. He couldn't come today. He's got to do some schoolwork.
We couldn't drag him away from his books.
Oh, don't you worry about Francis. He's a very bright boy. He'll always get by. And when's Gerald's next home leave?
No sign. Not for months. And then it'll be 48 hours at the most.
Never mind, darling. There's always hope. It only takes 20 seconds, the act itself, and then you have to look after them for the next 20 years. But I do hope Vera's not overdoing it. She's always been so delicate.
What do you mean?
When she was a young girl, she was very sensitive. She was very ill just before Eden was born. I suppose we'd call it a nervous breakdown. And then Eden came along and Vera just adored the baby. It brought her back to life, you might say. She doesn't look delicate now, dear girl, but she's still very sensitive. I think the Latin name for those flowers she's staking out is Penis vulgaris, or something of the sort.
You really shouldn't laugh at Vera. I'm certainly not. After all, Helen says I brought Vera back to life. But she's quite forgetting how really Vera saved mine.
Saved your life?
Oh, yes. You see that hummock down there? There used to be a tree there, an enormous oak tree, when I was a tiny baby. Hasn't anybody told you that?
No. Well, I don't remember.
Mum and Dad, Vera, your father and I had come to tea.
John, manners.
While they ate, I slept in the shade of the tree. Suddenly, Vera had a premonition. See, Faith, how unkind it is. You really oughtn't to make fun of Vera. I owe her my life.
Faith, wait. Faith, dear, don't you think...
What?
I don't think it's good for you to go to the trial. You don't have to.
No. No, I don't have to.
But I did have to. I had to know why.
I swear, by Almighty God, that the evidence I give to the court shall be the truth. Nothing but the truth. So help me, God.
So there's no doubt at all that Vera killed Eden. You know that, don't you? That she meant to kill her. Your mother said it, Andrew. She said it today. On oath. She told them what she saw exactly. There's no doubt.
Did Vera say anything?
No. No, she hasn't spoken since it happened. Nothing for us. So why should she make it easier for us? This is Vera, remember? If she killed Eden, she doesn't have to give anyone a reason. I hate her!
No, you don't.
But yes, I do! You've seen the way everyone looks at us. She's ruined the whole family.
It's got nothing to do with us, with our future. People will forget.
No! We're contaminated by Vera, whether we like it or not. And she'll always be there. I hate her! I'd returned to London for a few months, but when the Blitz began, I headed off for Laurel Cottage once more with my own secret war mission, eager to complete my study of Eden and copy all her ways.
Don't make fun of your father, Francis. You really are a most unnatural boy.
No, he doesn't deserve it. Funny to think he's away at war. This little cottage runs so smoothly without him.
Thank goodness you're going back to school next week. You are the most trying boy.
Ah, yes. I'm soon to go and ne'er be seen again.
What did you say? Francis?
You heard, Mother. Remember these last words.
Faith, dear, we'd just like you to run along down to the village and fetch the sergeant.
Sergeant Morris?
Yes, Faith, he's the only sergeant we've got.
Well, what's the matter?
Now, don't ask questions, Faith. Just be a good girl and do as you've been asked, would you?
Maybe he's hiding in his room.
That's it. He's hiding in his room.
No, thank you, my dear.
Oh, Thank you so much. Just one. I wouldn't want to, you... I do wish I had a dear little cottage like this. Then I wouldn't need any help. You know, Elsie's run off. Just like that, without leaving any sort of note at all. She's so very delicate. Well, he's very highly strung too, now I come to think of it.
Sort of runs in the family, does it?
Francis, how could you be so thoughtless coming in so late?
What's all the fuss about? It's only 10 o'clock.
You left a note. You wicked boy! You said you were going to kill yourself! Why does he treat me like this?
What note? Are you having delusions again, Mother?
There was a note. Fetch it. There was a note. Eden.
Oh, no, dear. It's all over now.
But Eden...
I'll look after her, don't you worry.
But...
Come along, dear.
She's always been so very nervous. On the edge.
Don't play any more tricks on your mother, young man. Wasting valuable police time.
No, sir. I'm sorry my mother bothered you, sir. You must have more important work to be getting on with.
Important work? Did he really say that? Cheeky beggar. Oh, look, there they go.
More important work.
Come on.
That's easy. In that centre a bit there, Tom, that's it. Keep it coming.
What do you think they're looking for? Treasure? Stolen jewels?
Guess what? They found Elsie down the well. She threw herself down the well. She's been down there for 5 whole days.
Faith, go and wash your hands at once. What will Chad think of us?
Yes. What will Chad think of us?
Didn't you hear me? Elsie threw herself down Mr. Everson's well.
Elsie? We don't know an Elsie, do we?
You know. Elsie and Mrs. Morells, of course you know.
Faith, dear, please wash your hands. We don't know anything about any Elsie at all.
But I...
We don't talk about such things. Not in company. Not in front of Eden's young man.
I think those hands will do. Don't think I remembered to wash mine. How do you do? I'm Chad Hamner, Eden's friend.
My mother said she had to do it. Elsie had to. I would have too. She couldn't have had it, could she?
Not at Mrs. Morells.
Who do you think she did it with?
Dunno. I think Vera wants another baby. Eden told Frances that she told Helen.
She's far too old.
No. She's waiting for Uncle Gerald to come home.
So what does he do?
He's a journalist.
So where's his notebook? There's no news here, ever. Do you think they do it? Eden and... what's his name? They're not married. Neither was Elsie. Why do you think it happened? No!
From that moment, the Germans were banished into exile. All that summer, Elsie and her gruesome fate fired our imaginations in death, as she never would have in life.
Read all about it. Vera Hilliard to hang. Vera Hilliard guilty. Vera Hilliard to hang.
I know this is the last thing you want to think about, but we must think of the future. Our future. And I think the best thing would be for us to get married as soon as possible. Faith? Faith, what's the matter?
Get married? Andrew, are you mad? How can we do that now?
Well, this doesn't have to affect us. We can put it behind us.
Oh, yes?
What's the matter? What are you so frightened of?
Aren't you frightened? Aren't you afraid of what might be in me?
In you? Don't be silly. Look, Vera made a terrible mistake. She did a terrible thing. But that doesn't mean
What
to
about
say...
the old lady, Mrs. Hislop? What about her?
Oh, Mrs. Hislop? Oh, the silly lady with the mushrooms. What nonsense is this?
Maybe she wasn't so silly. What about the March baby, Andrew? What about the baby?
You're imagining things. Of course I remember about the March baby. That's why Vera was so ill.
Your mother told me, Andrew. She told me. Surely you have to believe Helen. She told me the whole story. Vera's visiting. Vera's good works.
There was a family called March. Mrs. March had hundreds of children. Mr. March was a war hero, First World War hero. He worked over on Westcott's farm. Mr. March often had terrible headaches because of the war, so he couldn't help much with the children. Everyone said how much Vera loved the March children, especially little Kathleen. She often helped out by taking her for walks.
Have a lovely time.
On this particular afternoon, she met her friend Judith, and the two girls took the baby for a picnic by the river. It was one of those perfect English summer days, and they sat and gossiped in the sunshine.
I don't know why you think this is important, Faith. It's nothing to do with...
No, listen, Andrew. Listen to it all.
After about an hour, Vera said, Judith had to go home. Vera cleared up every speck of rubbish, as we know she would. That much must be true. She said she panicked. She said she searched up and down the riverbank for hours.
Where's Kathleen? Where's my baby? I want to see your Vera. Where's your Vera? What's she done with my baby?
It was almost dark before she told anyone anything. The whole village, except Vera, searched for Kathleen.
Kathleen! That's her house over there, now. Here, let's go. Right, let's go.
And that was that. Nobody ever saw Kathleen again. No one knows what happened.
Eden was born soon afterwards and stopped Vera from going mad. Then Vera saved her life, so it was like paying back a favour. But you can't think that Vera was to blame in any way.
It's a bit of a coincidence, don't you think? An old lady, a tiny baby, and Eden. And there was Vera. What if it runs in the family, Andrew? What if it's a Longley characteristic, like the fair hair and blue eyes? So how can you talk of us getting married? What if we had children with fair hair and blue eyes? Won't you be worried? Watching all the time? Watching out for signs?
Our children? Faith, you're just fantasizing.
Think about it, Andrew. Think about it. By the time I made my next visit, we had all, to Aunt Vera's alarm, grown older with the war.
Is Father on his way home? Honestly, Mother, by the time you've deciphered that letter, he'll have been and gone, mission unaccomplished.
You're so sharp, Francis, you'll cut yourself one day. I hope you're not turning into a scholar, Faith. Eden and I will have to pass an examination just to talk to you both.
Gone to check her own personal calendar. Check out if she can capitalise. Honestly, Faith, check out if she'll be on heat when the Lord and Master touches down, of course. Her time of the month? Isn't that what you call it? She wants to produce a rival to my throne. An imposter.
What complete nonsense you talk, Francis.
Well, if it doesn't work this visit, she'll have them rotting away in some London hotel next time. That's if he survives. Ridiculous. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, my dear.
Doesn't matter. Really doesn't. It's the wrong time anyway.
I'll be home again soon.
Yeah.
Come and sit down, for goodness sake, Vera, dear. Gerald has to go tomorrow and he's only been home for 2 days. Come on, dear.
It's all right, dear. Finish what you were doing. Sometimes I wonder if it's all worth it. You have to switch on and off so suddenly. It's a strain. On everybody.
Do you think they've done it yet?
I don't know.
He's not very handsome. Not enough for Eden. Eden could marry a film star if she wanted.
He's a writer. Anyway, nice is better than handsome.
Really? then? Do you think Vera started her baby yet?
Where would you like me to put it?
It's all right. Uncle Gerald will be home again soon. The war will be over soon.
Eden's going away.
Don't worry. She'll visit. Even though I'm in London. All right.
Things will never be the same again. Very smart uniform. Eden will, of course, look very well in it. They should use her as an advertisement for the forces. And it's a very smart little hat.
Better go. Promise right. I will. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you.
Remember to telephone as soon as you arrive. Remember to inspect the laundry arrangements at the very first opportunity.
Goodbye, Vera.
Remember to ask your commander when you might be allowed...
For all my good intentions, it would be over a year before I was to return to Suffolk, now that Eden had left. So I had only my imagination and the help of Vera's letters to keep Laurel Cottage alive in my memory.
Well, she's glad to say the new maid at the rectory is training up well. Very good find. Helen's back's been playing her up again. Ah. Vera's managed to make 2 summer dresses for Eden out of several old blouses. She always was a very thrifty seamstress.
Gerald is coming home on leave.
Vera wrote to my father a great deal, but as it was a family habit never to say anything of real interest in one's duty letters, it was up to Anne to let me in on the more exciting happenings in Great Sindon.
Chad is a regular visitor. My mother said not to be so nosy. She can talk. I can't say for sure Eden was there. I suppose he just visits in order to breathe her presence.
Eden's in Belfast, with the Admiral.
What Admiral?
She's assistant to a very important man indeed. You know that. Vera can't tell us everything. It's classified.
Yesterday, the oddest thing happened. I was walking to the village. Your Aunt Vera was on her way to the rectory. I tried to tell her Mrs. Morell was away, but she wouldn't listen.
Our sister Vera is with child.
Oh.
And towards the end of the year, by way of a bonus, we were treated to an unexpected family visit.
Eden. Was that the Admiral?
The Admiral? Oh, yes. It's very much the Admiral.
Thank you very much, Eden.
Thank you so much, Eden. The war has deprived us of these luxuries.
It's nothing. Just a few favours from friends.
From the Admiralty?
Faith. Eden's not allowed to talk about her work. All we know is it's very important and very secret. I think we should only talk of family. There's Vera's wonderful news, of course. And how's your young man, Eden? When might we expect an announcement?
My young man?
Yes, Chaz or Chad, whatever his name is. Very nice fellow. We've been led to believe that he'll soon be one of the family.
Hope everything's all right. Mother's been cleaning all day.
Really? So, you don't need any tips from Laurel Cottage anymore, Faith? Now you've got your own little drawer. I can't think where your father got that ridiculous idea that Chad and I were engaged.
Well, you know how he is. He's very traditional. Good night.
And anyway, Vera has... Well, you know how difficult it is to say no to Vera.
What do you mean?
Nothing, darling. Nothing at all. I always talk nonsense, you know that. Anyway, you should know that Chad and I mean absolutely nothing to one another now. Good night, darling.
Good night.
Life in wartime London was busy, and as the months went by, Laurel Cottage faded from my imagination. We still received bulletins from Vera about her morning sickness, about Eden's secret war duties, which of course she was performing immaculately, but the letters grew less regular.
My mother says Vera's not seen much in the village. She sends out for supplies. She has very few visitors.
Eden was seen at Laurel Cottage very rarely, on the odd weekend when British intelligence could spare her. I imagine the two sisters in the garden, laughing together, as they used to, in their mysterious, secret world.
When did you say Gerald was on home leave?
Last July, for 3 whole days.
She should have agreed to come here while she was... She hasn't been well.
I thought Laurel Cottage was the safest place on earth. Why would she come here where bombs are falling? Maybe she prefers to be away from public view.
Oh, do stop talking nonsense.
Wherever she is, it won't stop it being the longest pregnancy in history.
Laurel Cottage is empty at the moment. Your Aunt Vera hasn't been seen for weeks. She has left word with my mother that she's gone to the Colchester Maternity Clinic for her confinement.
It's from Eden. She's in Newcastle. It's from Eden. Vera has given birth to a son. 8 pounds 2 ounces stop. Mother and baby are both doing well.
Oh, all this fuss. The Ace of Award.
You must give little Jamie a good welcome into the world.
I bet that's more than Vera's doing.
Poor little thing. I expect he's already on a strict regime. He's probably fed on the hour precisely, or not at all.
Yeah, he's probably already eating with the left hand and drinking with the right.
Maybe Aunt Eden's already taught him how to make puff pastry and embroidered doilies.
Well, of course, a small baby is a handful. Vera? Vera! We're here!
Come on up! We're in the bedroom!
Come in. Come in. I'm afraid lunch is taking a little longer than usual. Isn't it, Jamie, darling? We're not quite ready for your big day.
Well, we'll wait downstairs, shall we? Perhaps the girls can help prepare tea.
Yes, but don't they want to see the baby first? Isn't he beautiful?
Oh, he's lovely. Oh, he's so sweet, Vera.
Gorgeous.
He smells so... I can't describe it, but it's a marvellous smell, isn't it?
You look very well, Vera.
Hello.
How kind of you to come, Chad.
Well, I was passing. Covering a story in Ipswich, actually. Thought I'd pop over and see the little fellow.
Jolly kind of you to spare us the time. Where's Eden?
Oh, I don't know, actually. She's somewhere in the country.
You know Eden. You know, when I'm feeling low about the war, it cheers me up to think of Eden. Miss Paragon in every corner of our isles, doing her secret work, sewing, knitting, baking for Britain. Her little hands busy at this very moment keeping National Socialism at bay.
Oh, do shut up, Francis. That's not Faith, is it? Little Faith? Oh, I like the hair very much.
I expect you're proud of your brother. Handsome, strapping little fellow.
Really? I haven't seen it yet. I'll take your word for it. You are a revolting little insect, aren't you? So stupid. Like a dog. Talk to you in a soft, soothing voice and you'll do anything. You think I'm your friend. Yes. Don't belong here, you little bastard. In my room. With my mother. Won't have long hair, my little puppy dog.
Francis!
Just making the little fellow feel at home.
Oh dear, we'll be late. Mr. Morel will be cross, I'm sure.
Yes, little Jamie. His eyes are still that lovely brown. I thought they might have changed by now. Oh.
It's the other way around, Helen. Babies born with blue eyes disappoint their mothers by changing their eye colour. In this case, I'm not sure even Morel could perform that miracle.
Francis, don't upset your mother today.
Nonsense, I don't have any effect on my mother. Brown is, of course, a very attractive colour.
Just grow up, Francis.
Such a pity your father can't be here. That's what war does. My Andrew's still a prisoner. Gerald would have loved to be here.
Not quite sure what his function would be.
Look after Jamie, Faith. Promise me.
I'm going to be late. What if it runs in the family? There was the old lady. The tiny baby. And then Eden. All dead. And there was Vera. What if it runs in the family?
Look after Jamie, Faith. Promise me. Look after Jamie.
Jamie!
Jamie ought to be here. Vera asked me if Jamie could be my page, because Eden wouldn't have him. He really ought to be here.
You know, dear, if you're not quite ready, if you need a little more time, Andrew will understand.
Yes. Yes, Andrew will understand. But there's no need. We were engaged before, and now we're going to be married.
Darling, you know there's nothing I want more. It's what I've always wanted. But
There's no but. I'm going to marry Andrew. Why should Vera stop us?
Vera didn't stop us, Andrew, but she did put a curse on our marriage. And as we all gathered on our dismal wedding day, how many of us were remembering that other family occasion, that happy day when we christened Jamie?
Dearly beloved, for as much as all men are conceived and born in sin, I beseech you to call upon God our Father, through our Lord Jesus Christ, that of his bounteous mercy he will grant to this child that thing which by nature he cannot have.
Some of us there knew that Jamie would set Vera on the road to disaster, that he wasn't a beautiful, happy ending, but the beginning of the despair and violence that would overtake our family.
Before you are joined in matrimony, I have to remind you of the solemn and binding character of the vows you are about to take. Marriage, according to the law of this country, is the union of one man and one woman, voluntarily entered into for life, to the exclusion of all others.
James Gerald Arthur Hilliard, I baptize thee in the name of the Father, and of the Son,
It was all set in motion that day with Jamie.
and of the Holy Ghost.
Innocent Jamie.
Amen.
It would all come back to Jamie.